he wanted to talk about the assembly of the kit.
Oh yeah, good.
This looks different.
Now for the charger, it doesn't align with the holes.
Not exactly. Yes, that still need to be it's a few millimeter off, I think. There, because there's every time we get different sizes of those charges, so they're not always the same.
Right.
So I have to find a consistent source and put them correctly in.
Right. So I'm just going to use just some wire instead of
You could use the pin headers, but they are a little bit bent or a little bit not perfectly straight, so you can do a little bit to the left or right, or you can adjust them.
Right. Well, if you align it for the top holes, it's hard to see. So the reflection is not good.
Yeah. Do we need some sort of a spacer between the charger board and the main board? Like just as an insulator?
Oh yes, there needs to be a pin headers with an isolated, how to say, a thing under it.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I think I lost my video. I'm gonna stop the video just so I can save my bandwidth.
Okay.
And you had some good pictures in there as well, showing how to wrap the pancake detector away from the screws that are holding down the core too.
I should send pictures for you. That makes
well,
it
you have. I went through the pictures on Slack, and you had a pretty good set. Also, how to basically take the headers, run them through, and so you get the height, solder them in, and then trim off the outside.
Yes, that's what that's the way I put them together. If you have better ways, please tell us.
No, that works. That definitely works.
You had other issues too, or you think you come across?
No.
Oh, that's good. So far.
Yeah.
Okay. This is still not the final version, so we can change many things on it, so it should be fine.
Right.
Yep. It's very simple. It used to be many more components, but now it's getting less and less and less.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, it becomes a real Zen. So, and if you see the original for bGeigieZen Nano, the one that Lionel made, he just had a separate logger and then a few wires and separate power. How to say, the high voltage power supply, and all separate linked with wires, and it was the first model, and it worked nice.
That's what you want.
Yep. Okay. So what should we do more? So the other one to take the lead about the software, or
morning,
evening.
Yeah, evening for me. That's
yeah, evening. Yeah, for me, afternoon. I was a bit late, I guess. So we were talking about new received boards. I received mine, but I haven't started it yet because my soldering station workspace is at my dad's place at the moment. So I'll get to that later. As for the software, yeah, I hope most of you have tried the latest version that I uploaded last week. I noted some concerns, of course. So yeah, I'm already working on a new version of the sensor reporter library. But it will take a little while. I hope to get it done at least next week.
Okay.
At least one first working version that I can expand on.
Mine's a simple feedback when I was using it on the Core 2, the buttons didn't work, and the satellites were not updated. It looks like the GPS was not working at all.
I think if you tried the version that Louis was working on, because
I think I did the last.
he had the implementation with the satellite display.
Okay. And that was on the Core 2 or the Core 1?
Core
Both.
2.
Core 2. Okay, so
Mhm.
I will put it on and then give more feedback. Check it out.
Link your
Yeah,
branch.
I can jump in here. I'm just trying to get a better handle on the satellites display. I didn't like the idea of just that you show 0 satellites until you get a fix, and I think we discussed that last week. And what's really nice on the Nano is that you get a progressive indication that, okay, it's got 2 satellites, 3 satellites, we should be getting it fixed anytime now. And that's fairly useful. So there's basically 2 feeds for satellites. There's a command in uBlocks for position, velocity, and time, and that's the good one. But there's also an enumeration of the number of satellites in view. And so that's what I'm using until we have a fix. And of course, that makes a change now to the drive mode screen, because now it needs to be able to pick from which, if we don't have a fix, then try to go to satellites in view. Right, and that's the nav-sat command in uBlocks. And if you do have a fix, then then obviously use what's available. So that the thing to be discussed is the color scheme, and what I'm suggesting is 0 should be red, like you don't have any satellites, you don't have a time, is your GPS even working? Then when we have satellites in view but not a fix, it should go to yellow or orange, right? Some sort of a warning. Whatever, if we used for warning, and then when we get to fix, everything goes green and stays green until until we lose a fix, then it goes back to yellow, right? And that's, since we're polling every 1 second, so I have 1.5 seconds, we don't get any communication, then it goes yellow.
Okay, and when it doesn't have any satellites anymore, it goes back to red again.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So
yeah, that makes sense to me.
So if I started, hang on, if I can bring up the where is my some open folder. So I just if I just, where is my anyway, I called it I can't remember, it's like GPS satellites or something like that. For some reason VS Code locked up. Let's try this again. Yeah, I called it GNSS-satellites. So if you want to have a look at that.
Which branch is that on? On the framework branch?
It's called here, let me just let's go post it in the chat and you guys can pick it up from.
Let's see. Oh, cannot find GNS satellites.
That's right. That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it should be in the chat somewhere, because if you push to the branch, you get the message, of course.
I-
Mm. Yeah, I can just message here, I guess.
I put it in the chat, but I also put it in the Slack.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, that's to be tweaked.
So you said you wanted to have like a green color. Or going back to the color scheme that we chose, I think we had the like everything is okay and good. Would be just normal white.
Okay,
So
then that's fine. The basically, regardless of the colors that we're using, if, what I'm suggesting is, bad, warning, good. So if good is white, that's fine. I was just going with what I had right now in on the core 2 in the main development branch, which was sensor reporter framework.
Hmm.
Hang on, I've got an interruption here.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the colors that we defined, and we had white is active and correct data, green status. I think that's some status message would be safe and correct. Red status is error. Grayed out would be inactive or not present. So would it be an idea to have like if there are 0 satellites, it would be like grayed out, or is that only for text?
Sorry, I got sidetracked.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I just started talking.
Yeah. No, I just my grandson's here. He's on his Chromebook, so and I was trying to keep him away from games.
Hmm.
Yeah, a video.
Oh, it's a plague.
Understandable. So my question was, should we use a grayed out text if the data is
Long ago,
inactive or not
I had to
present?
go through the house and tell all the kids to stop using video if I was on a meeting,
Oh, yeah.
before we got really good internet.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so grayed out, like just thinking of the visibility in sunlight.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
good point.
that's true. So I'm just going by the notes that we made earlier. So maybe grayed out is not a good idea at all.
Yeah.
No.
I think I'd be happier
I
with
like the
with
orange idea. It's not what we selected in the beginning, but I think it makes it very clear. And it's still
Yeah.
quite visual in the sunlight. Gray is often it's going to be difficult to read. Then.
Yeah, that would be the yellow, as in
Yeah,
the
no,
current color we use right now, you mean?
no,
Or
I'm
do we want to add another
thinking just a real orange one, because the yellow one we have for assigned for other things. We should make it too much different shades, I think. Yeah, it's not so nice by introducing a new color, but I think for the satellite, I think it's a very good point to make them orange, because it's not a how would you say, it's in between a 0 and something coming.
Yeah,
Isn't that the same as the CPM then? Because we use like currently yellow for the CPM when it's still like counting up to an actual minute.
Mm.
Sure.
So it's kind of the same idea. Like we're kind of waiting for the CPM to become like complete.
Right.
And it would be the same for the satellites.
Yeah, that's one way true. Yeah, but the other hand is like the yellow feels like it's being used often already, and it's so easy to see if it's orange for the satellites. There's some orange icon somewhere, then you know what is going on. But
yeah, I think well, I
it's
think
difficult
a
choice,
difference between yellow and orange is too small. Or maybe if it really depends on the color, of course. But if we use yellow, orange, and red, I think it kind of blurs.
Yeah, that's true. The yellow and the orange should not be so, or yellow or orange, I think. So maybe we can start. We can try to start with yellow. to keep it consistent, and then maybe later we can always change it to another one if you want to.
Sorry, being
Yeah,
interrupted
something like
again.
that.
Yeah, let's start with yellow and see them. That makes sense.
I think either way, we should start with having the design for the drive screen, of course. If we look at the current state,
Yes.
Just
yeah,
hold it still.
I don't think that really works. But,
You have to
No.
switch off your blur.
yeah,
Maybe back up a little bit. Yeah, that doesn't matter.
I can just remove the blur. That's okay.
Yeah.
There it is.
So I think the CPM values are okay. This is not connected, by the way. So
Mhm.
it's currently yellow, but I think it should be either red, because currently there is no status check.
Yes, correct.
Modules
Yes, I think so.
are connected. So we still have the option to check if the module is active, so the GPS module or the Geiger counter module, and then we can turn the digits red if it's not.
Yes.
And then for the satellites, I think we can also do the same check if the module is not active or connected, then it can be red. But if it's just zero satellites, but it's still trying to look for more satellites, I think it should be yellow. But that's just
Yeah,
based
that makes
on what
sense.
we're trying to do. Like it is trying to find satellites, and then
Mhm.
sometimes it will be one, and then suddenly it gets a fix and it will be white, I think. But perhaps we can use some green. Or...
I would prefer green because that makes it clear that it's safe and it's okay.
Would you then use green for all the values for the GPS, like the longitude, latitude?
That's a very difficult one. I wouldn't use it for the GPS.
The
Just satellites then,
Yes,
or maybe just the icon.
yeah, an icon. I was thinking about the icon. So the icon
Perhaps
turned
you can
green, and maybe you can make
based
the
on
numbers.
this.
The numbers we can make yellow, but the you can make them white too if you want to. But the icon should be green, I think. If we
well, just to finish this, because, well, to add something, the data of the GPS, should it be on screen, like latitude?
No, doesn't have to. No, that was my preferences. We don't have to get it there.
I think we can have it in some way there, like there is a current fix, or like this is the location. But like the satellite count, we can move it to an icon, and then we can use colors. I think that would be what you were trying to say as well.
I still like the idea of confidence of like the generally I know what my longitude, latitude around my house is, and I think that would be a good confidence builder that, okay, I've got the right number of satellites and I'm getting, the numbers look right. And the idea is the integrity of the readings, the measurements that are going to go into the database, and everything we can do to encourage that, the accurate, complete data is a step in the right direction. So I'd rather have, like if you want to put the longitude, latitude, altitude, really small print, at least it's there. Yeah.
For me, it was more an idea that if somebody takes a picture from the reading, I mean, not uploading it, that was for the nano, that you can see where it's located. I mean, you have kind of evidence. The GPS had this number, and then you can, any measurement has a GPS value next to it. So even if you take a picture in case of emergency, you still have for example, if a spy comes by, you can just take a picture, and even if it's not uploading, you still have the data then.
Yeah, I think the latitude, longitude, and perhaps altitude is nice to have on screen. But for the satellites, perhaps just an icon in the status bar, and we can even add like a digit next to it for the count.
It would be nice if we can get the digit on the icon, like I often have.
Yeah.
That would be very nice.
But the icon would already be small, and then
Yes.
the digit on top of it. I
Yeah.
mean, we can try.
But
Depends on
and
the
it's
icon, of course.
it's 2 digits, by the way, because it can go up to
Oh
like,
yes, true.
12, or I've seen it go up as high as 12.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's kind of impossible. It's too small for that. I agree.
Well, I can have 9 plus. Oh, well, that would be a plus already. No, never mind.
Then the plus again.
Yeah.
Well, it could be as simple as shifting the position of the number of satellites. You put longitude, latitude, altitude, and then satellites underneath, because that's sort of kind of secondary information. It's again, confidence builder, but what you really want to know is latitude, longitude, and then the other two are secondary. So
Yeah, I think there is room in the status bar for the satellites.
okay.
It would make the screen a bit cleaner, like less text, less
True.
things to look at.
Okay.
But we can try like make some designs. I don't know, Rob, if
Yeah.
you had time last week to
No, didn't have
sketch
hardly
something.
time.
No.
I had an hour and I put something in there, but didn't get through it. I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, that's okay. Perhaps maybe if you have time the upcoming week,
I will
or we
work on
can also plan for next meeting next Sunday. To have like a design session together if we have time, or maybe we can do like after the meeting, have like a design session, or before.
Okay, we can do that too.
That depends.
For me, before would be good, but not after. After is going to be good.
I like the idea of nailing down some sort of a design, even if it's not, and then throwing it out there to the rest of the Safecast crowd and say, hey, what do you think? And get some feedback that way. But at least come up with something, like, here, this is a first pass, but it's solid. We think it's consistent, and let's go with it. And then let everybody take
take the
comment
ideas
on it.
of it. Yeah, that makes sense. I agree with you.
Perhaps what we can do, Rob, is we can have like a design session before the meeting, and then during the meeting we can discuss the design depending on
that's
who
good.
joins.
Let's make it next time. For me 8 o'clock, so 1 hour early. That will be good.
Okay, and we'll join in at 7.
Okay.
Well, 7 my time, Michael's time.
But it's too early for Michael. It's 6 for Michael.
I'll make time. Just
well.
That's okay. Just go to bed early and get extra coffee prepared. And
okay.
For me, it's just the afternoon, so I have no problems at all.
Okay.
Okay. Then what else was there? I made little progress on the changing the menu. As I was talking last week, changing the menu to like a full screen.
Oh yeah.
That the next would be like more logically placed, because the menu items will be on the left, with some information on the right. I haven't really continued on that, so I'll make like a first version for next week.
Did you have time to look at the fonts, or not yet?
Not yet at all. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah. No, I'm currently busy with the framework.
Yeah,
that's
the most important part. The fonts, we can do that later. That's fine.
Yeah, I did try with the M5 update in a separate thread, and it worked better, but I didn't really like the idea of doing that. So instead, what I'm currently building is like all the workers and handlers have like an async, like a threaded version as well, and the main loop in the main thread would always be as fast as possible. And if there's any worker that knows like my cycle can take a bit longer, like the GPS, I think a lot of GPS functions have a timeout because it sends a message to the GPS module and waits for a response. And I think that is currently the issue with the cycle times in the program. So for those workers, they can set like a status: I am currently processing, and then the async function handles it until it gets the data, and then the main cycle can pick that up and provide it to the rest of the workers, handlers.
So you basically
and then
a sub-cycle in there, basically.
Yeah.
So what? Go ahead. I was just going to say, what's the issue with moving M5 update to run on a timer?
Well, it doesn't really fix the issue for the main cycle. So I
What's the
would like
issue
to
with the
have
main? What's the issue with the main cycle?
Well, the main cycle also has the screen updates, the providing the information to the user, and like handling the response to button presses, etc. So if the main cycle is still busy, like sending something to an API, and you press a button, you would still have to wait, like maybe.
Yeah, but at least the button press, the length of the button duration, and the button release would all be recorded correctly, and then you just poll.
Yeah, that is true. So it does improve. Like I said, it does improve a little bit, but I would like to change it up a bit more. That the whole main cycle is
right. That also includes the speaker. I don't know if you were using the speaker at all, the M5 update.
I think I did try to use the speaker a while back for the text, but it doesn't work with the interrupt. So I think if we want to use the speaker for clicks, we will probably have to do it through hardware.
So one of the things I thought about was, okay, how when you look at this loop, it's really M5 update, and then you're going through your polling, and the idea that anytime you go through that you've established the priority of workers, the priority of handlers, and the priority of supervisors. Well, I think there's only one supervisor, right? Just the display.
Currently, yes, one, just a display.
Right. And that anytime you go into that loop, you just pick up the first task, the first highest priority task, and then you exit, and that way M5 update would would happen, and then you could come back and pick up the next highest priority task and just do one task each time through the make that an option in your super what is that? What is the name of the GitHub for
it's a sensor reporter.
Yeah, make that an option in sensor reporter that it only does one thing each iteration and knocks off all the tasks. Another idea was also to record how much time, worst case time, you're spending in each of those, having that available in any one of the workers and handlers. You'd have a switch to turn on recording that or not recording that, because that's gonna add a burden as well.
Yeah, I was added a define to record cycle times. Well, actually working and handling times, not necessarily activating. I mean, could also record activating, but at least the working, like the normal app cycling, would be working the workers and handling handlers, and those times it would spend inside that function are then being recorded, and you can check like the highest of the past 5 seconds or something. I was
right.
Yeah, you have it. Yeah,
you have a sliding window, right?
Yeah, something like that. So
or a chopped window,
yeah, and like the highest ever recorded since running. I was playing around with some properties and trying to see what the most efficient way is to record this.
I've done enough, event-driven programming that those are the things that I mentioned to you even in the last meeting that I was at, is that you want to try to find those things that like I remember one time I was losing data on a different type of project, and I finally realized that I was drawing pixels instead of drawing vectors to the descending, pixels instead of vectors to the display processor, and that was eating up 150 milliseconds a cycle in the loop, and it was there it was, but finding that was it took a while.
Yeah, I can understand that. I'm just saying currently, from what I know, is that the GPS worker takes a lot of time because it calls the GPS module and waits for a response. And I think the
Right.
default timeout is set to 1 second or something. So that is one factor that delays the program.
Is this the GPS interrupt or the GPS GPS worker?
No, this is the GPS library, the uBlocks.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So if you call a function like get the location, and then it tries to get the location from the module, like it sends a message to the module, and then the module responds with something.
Right.
I'm not entirely sure how that works, but I think it's like a busy loop or something, and it waits for a response with the correct data, so it can provide the data. Perhaps we can reduce the timeouts, like say wait a maximum of 5 milliseconds, and then it will just send the message to the GPS module, and then at some point it will reply, and the GPS worker will then handle it later, which would still be fine. So maybe that already that small thing would fix it.
Maybe Louis
And you
has
could
some
also
idea about it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying you could also break up that task to, reading in the serial stream from the GPS and sending it into the uBlocks library, and then come back and and then process that on a next iteration through.
Yeah, that would be reducing the timeout that it waits, because each function has like a timeout that you can pass, and by default it's, I don't remember, but we're going to just pass like 1 millisecond, and then it would just send a message and return basically right away. Something like that we can try to see if that works. I haven't tried it, but I was just thinking about it this morning. We could try.
But I definitely, I love the framework. I hadn't thought of something like that. I do all that individual, worker handler and stuff. I was all coding all that, just with each, individual device. It's much better to have it in a framework like that.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no,
I mean, it is a bit over-engineered, but I don't know.
It's flexible. Well, once it's running, it's very flexible.
It is
the way to go.
As you mentioned, there are some things missing or like not really optimized. But
it could be more over-engineered.
I mean, I could add like a callback that runs between every worker, which would be easier than sorting by priority and returning the whole function, keeping track of more like where was I things. So I think what you mentioned, like go back to the main loop and then the M5 update can run again. Perhaps I can add like a callback function where we can then run in the M5 update in between processing.
Right. Or actually, if you know how much time you have since you started in this particular pass through, say, all right, I've done enough. I've got to get back to M5 update. I've got to exit this because M5 update's got to run.
Something like that. I think maybe a callback would be fine. But I don't know. I think callback is the easiest. I don't know. What was I saying? The easiest implementation that at least fixes this issue, and then at a later time I can optimize it. I will probably add that. Yeah, that's a good idea. Louis, you're trying to say something as well.
Well, no, it's just that just thinking out loud again. Not sure how the timing is for those all those conversations between the application and the GPS module. It seems to be the way I'm setting it up right now in auto, it just basically auto polls, and when that polling comes complete, then the data is available. So really, we don't really have a control over how that polling happens, and right now we actually have to do three commands, three queries. One for the position, velocity, time. The other one is for the dilution of precision, because we don't get horizontal dilution of precision off the PVT command. We just get a sort of the kind of a spherical dilution of precision, or DOP. And finally, number of satellites visible but not necessarily involved in a fix. So those three commands, the satellite one is quite slow because it actually enumerates all the satellites and gives you the information on each one, even though all we really use is the header that gives you the total number. So that's where that delay is coming from, especially, I suspect if we remove the number of satellites polling, that it would be a lot faster, because now you've only got two transactions in there, but maybe 30 bytes each.
By the way, we have about a minute left, so just
I see.
not surprised. That,
just noticed.
Lewis, that is only in your branch, the satellite count. So the
That's
current
right.
main branch only has those two, and it already has the issues with the cycle times.
Okay.
But what we could do is just return data read every time the we did one of them, like one of the checks. Kind of like Michael said, like we just check one and then return, and then the next cycle we can check another.
Okay, well, it means that we'll just get rid of the auto and this just poll on demand.
I guess. Well, that's something we can try.
We can try that. That makes
also,
sense.
maybe it is good enough to have like once every 5 seconds, or a few seconds instead of every second or every cycle, trying to update everything, because we only log every 5 seconds as well.
Well, the other thing is if you've got the position, velocity, and time. Okay, so we're about to lose.
Continue with your sorry.
Okay, sure, no problem. Well, the idea is that if we have position, velocity, and time, why do we need satellites? We already have that. So at that point, we just don't use the navsat command, and that slows down, that speeds things up. The dilution of precision, it's more of it's more of a confidence thing. Does it have to be horizontal dilution of precision? And that I don't have honestly don't have the answer. If a global, let's say spherical DOP is good enough, then we don't even need that second command. And I'm not too sure who to ask about that, because that was basically from the earlier design of the database and the whole mapping thing. So but it's just basically, it's a figure of merit, right? And anything less than 100 is good.
Okay. Yeah, I think like if we can send the ublocks message to the module and then continue on with our cycle, and then next cycle pick up the response, or however long it takes.
Yeah.
Is that possible? Or
the problem is that when we receive, it's a serial stream, so basically, I don't know I don't know much about the serial port on this on the ESP32. If it has, how much of a buffer does it have? And that's the other question. If it's just what you
we can increase the buffer. It kind of depends on how big the messages are. I think the default is 512 bytes.
Oh, okay. Then that should be plenty, except for the the satellite enumeration. So yeah, so if you can just fire the command and return, no data or whatever the is it not ready status. Next time it's polled, read the serial buffer, and the problem. Starting to see. Okay, I was again thinking out loud. Is that the SparkFun library really is opaque, and they try to give you as much information as possible, but in the end, you almost have to duplicate the way they extract the information out of their out of the return packets. I'm almost at the point where it would be starting to look around at a simpler ways of interfacing. Basically, all the big problem is the protocol is binary, and they did that to be fast, so that you're transmitting fewer bits across the wire. But the SparkFun just seems to be kind of, it's like, trust us, we know what we're doing, and here's the information. And kind of bothers me a bit. So, and we're running into this problem where we're not exactly sure when the data comes in or when the request goes out because of this auto mode.
Right.
Right. Well, I don't know. Perhaps instead of trying to figure out how to do this, we can just try to use like a second thread that I want to build into the library, and then just run those requests to the ublogs, which might take a second. No, probably not a second. Might take a while, and then just handle it in the main thread afterwards. I think that would be the easiest way to do this. Yeah, let's just, we can try it out and see what happens next week.
Yep.
I'll try to get it done.
Okay. In the meantime, I can sort of again, this coming week is going to be crazy for me as well. However, after in the end of this week, these courses that I'm doing are done, and very much looking forward to that. I took on too much.
Okay. But at least you're aware of it. That's important. It's not that you collapse.
Well, it was a situation where they asked me, it's like, can you take on one more course, because the professor involved announced his retirement 2 weeks before the start of the semester in September.
Wow.
So they were a bit. I mean, he was 35 years in the system, and I think, and in poor health, and the college was coming back completely in person after the whole COVID online thing, and he just said, "No, that's enough." So anyway, won't make that mistake again. Anyway, so yeah, let's. I'll just wait for finding out if that thread idea works. Otherwise, then we just start digging into the actual uBlocks protocol to have a little bit more more hands-on, or more deterministic response, query response from the module. I mean, it's clocking at 38.4, but it could go faster too, right? For the serial stream.
Yeah, especially since the hardware on both sides is automatic.
Yes.
Filling up that buffer. Yeah, you're right. You could go to a higher data rate. Also, are you considering not having it auto send every second? Just poll and pull out the data as you need it.
That would probably that way. That would give us a little bit more control over what happens. The only problem is now that the function would block, so waiting for the response, and again, we'd still end up with a bit of a delay if if the solution is ready, then it comes back immediately. But if we have to wait up to this, again, I'd have to look if we ask for a solution from the module, it most likely that's what I would do, is invalidate that data until the next solution is computed. So that's
if it's the library that's blocking it rather than the GPS module, then we could just fix that. You can
bypass the library.
It's like the Radiohead. Yeah, I've been using the Radiohead library for LoRa, and the library is designed to be blocking, and I just added a couple of commands that tell me what's going on status wise, so I can poll status wise and so I made it a non-blocking library.
Oh, I see.
I
So you can just so you can just ask, do you have anything for me?
Yeah,
yes,
no.
Yeah.
And move on. Are you busy?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's something. So I unfortunately I haven't had a lot of time to get to start working on this GPS, getting really to understand the GPS thing. But I will have some time this coming week.
Awesome.
Great.
Yeah. Get to really understand the library, the SparkFun uBlocks library.
Yeah. If I can send you the PDF for the uBlocks manual.
I got it. Is it version 8 that you're using?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I got 450 something pages.
460 pages of good fun.
You're right. Yeah, I found it. Thanks.
Okay, we have other things to discuss, or I think we covered most of the things.
Yeah, I think we covered most of the things. We can make a small plan for next week. So we have the design session. And then, well, we can see the updates on the cycle improvements, the second thread. Perhaps we can share what we want to work on then. Like Michael, you wanted to go through the GPS library, understand it?
And as I'm doing that, it makes sense to I'm doing that as part of building this this GPS generator.
Right.
It's actually a capture and then replay GPS unit that I'm building. So that'll give me a very good understanding of how that library works, because I'm going to make it so that I can read and also modify it, and then update the checksum and everything.
I have one. It's completely. It's when the you guys can see this.
Yeah.
This is the liner for the case. I actually talked to the distributor for Pelican in Canada and ordered a black one. And I have an issue with the yellow one because I think yellow is kind of like danger, scares people. And when I do drive around, I do get some questions, right? You know, I'll pull into a gas station or a parking lot, and somebody says, "Hey, what's that?" All right. And since we have 10 working nuclear reactors in the region, we have 6. Sorry, 6 in the region. People kind of, they're either not aware that there is even these reactors, which is you know, I mean, they don't make any noise, and the lights stay on. But I'm just going to ask, is it possible to offer a choice of black or yellow?
You can do any color you want. Peter just we started with yellow, so just the color. The black is fine too. I mean, the black gets very hot if you put it in a car in the front.
No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, that was one of my concerns. Even the rat nose, they goes black because the LCD get too hot.
Oh, the LCD gets too hot. Yeah, I see.
Completely black, and you don't see anything anymore.
Right.
If you paint them white, or if you paint them silver, then they are about 5 degrees lower in temperature.
Oh, I see. Okay. So I just So anyway, okay, so I'm just gonna throw that out as a as something to think about.
Yes.
So I'm gonna build mine with the black with the
that's
black
up to
liner.
Oh, any color is fine. So,
And even if the screen breaks, you can always like get a new M5 and just plug it in and it works
Yeah,
out of
that's
the
it.
box. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Now, just personally, I'm just generally aware of that, leaving the things in this car seat or the dashboard, because I used to do a lot of photography with, non-electronic cameras, and you just don't want the film to get too hot. So, just put some sort of a cover over if it's going to be in the sun. Also, for theft issues.
Mhm.
So anyway,
theft I don't have to deal with here, so
Yeah.
it's very easy.
yeah. Well,
All right.
that's
I I don't even have a lock on my door, so
oh wow.
it's
great.
I mean, the deer would come in if you don't lock the door. That's all. Right?
Mhm.
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess
So
that's it then for
Yeah.
today.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Well, have a good
Sounds
week,
good.
everyone.
Yeah.
Everybody.
You too.
Bye.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
1 hour early
luck.
for the design session. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Please send
Okay.
a time invitation.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay. Bye bye.